All right, what do you make of this move in futures? Again, it's on reports. The Senate's getting closer to a deal to end the government shutdown. Still has to pass the House, so there's a few more hurdles. It's going to take a few more days. Does that erase some of the other concerns like inflation and, of course, valuations? Is this good enough to kind of take the bull market and put it back on track, the idea that we might have a deal here?
I think it does. The word of the day is seasonality, and that's because the fourth quarter, on average, cumulatively, over the past 50 years is up 8.5%. So I think you use the volatility that we've seen so far in November, which, by the way, we were supposed to get volatility in September and October. We never got it. Markets actually did much better. So you use the volatility that we've seen so far to be adding into this seasonal strength. You add to financials, you add to energy, you add to industrials, technology, discretionary. And that is mainly because the economy is still on very sound footing, and earnings growth, Frank, running up 12.5%, and revenues up about 8%, margins better than expected. So I think you buy any pullbacks, where especially if numbers are going higher, to those stocks that have kind of pulled back with the overall broader market.
All right. To your point, the economy is very strong. If you look at any estimate for the for GDP for this quarter, it continues to be strong. I believe the Atlanta Fed actually increased it by like a basis point last week as well. But I want to talk to you about something that Bespoke put out. Now, this is pretty interesting. You look at the S&P 1500, which I know you're familiar with, mid caps and small caps in there. Communication services and tech, they're both in bear market territory, more than 20% from their 52-week highs. Is that concerning as you look deeper down the cap that we're seeing these kind of pullbacks in so many names?
I'm actually pretty encouraged that we're seeing this broadening out that we've all been talking about. It's actually been fits and starts in terms of the broadening out. And so I think you want to own tech. I think you also, though, want to own all the other sectors that I mentioned that should outperform into the end of the year. You could add mid caps and small caps if you like. I don't. I actually would rather own more cyclical companies on the large caps side. Both have the same kind of factors in terms of how they trade. So I'm encouraged. I think it's going to last into the end of the year for sure. $7 trillion of cash on the sidelines, Frank. I don't think it's all coming into the market, but it certainly is a nice tailwind.
All right, that's a fair point. We have a lot of earnings this week, including big tech earnings. CoreWeave, Cisco, Applied Materials, Sony, SoftBank. Any of these have the potential, upside or downside, to have a market impact like we saw with Palantir?
Well, Cisco is an interesting one only because it's such a broad-based company. They have such broad exposure globally. And so I always like to listen to what they have to say about what they see in the overall economies across the world. And I think it's going to be just fine. I also think that the most recent acquisition that they've done will be synergistic. Applied Materials, I think, will be also very good. I own Teradyne. I like the equipment players in the semi space. So I think they're going to say pretty good things. And I think the tone is just a little bit better now that we have this government shutdown kind of in the 8th inning.
Okay. Your pick for us today is Starbucks. It sounds like you're not that worried about the consumer as a lot of other people are worried about the consumer. Why do you think this is a great pick right now?
I think you want to put a little caffeine in your portfolio, Frank, and that is because the stock rallied 49% when Brian Niccol was announced as the new CEO. He came from Chipotle. Under Chipotle, stock was up under 700% under his leadership. The stock gave it all back, all that 49%. It's given it back. The stock is down 6%. And if you listen to what the CEO said when they reported earnings a couple of weeks ago, the turnaround is coming faster than even he expected. And what I caught notice was they saw the first positive same-store sales figure for the overall company the first time in 2 years. So they're revamping the stores, the store experience. They're totally revamping the mobile order system and the menu changes. And I just don't think it's appreciated.